Hey everyone, welcome back. So in the last video, we saw about how to print different statements in a C program and how to add a new line and to leave some space and print those statements. In this program, we will see how to do different things with two numbers. Like what we will do is we will add, subtract, multiply and divide two numbers to write program to work with numbers. That is what we will see in today's video. But before that, we will see something called as indentations. Now, indentations is the space that we leave before writing certain statements. Now, if we see in this program, in this page, the first line we are beginning, we are not leaving any space. Here also we have not left any space, but from here we will see we have left a tab space for all these statements. Now for all these statements, inside these two curly braces, we have left a tab space. Now why we have done that? This is not compulsory, but just to understand that these statements are written inside these main portion. Just to easily understand visibly, we are doing this. Even if we don't do this, it is still okay, but we are doing this just to just for some clarity, that whenever we see these statements, we know this is inside the main part. Okay, now we will see how to write a C program to add two numbers. Now this is the basic format of a C program like we saw in the last video. The first thing to remember is you have to write main with two round braces and curly brace, and we will write a int. Because we are writing a int, the last line of main we will return an integer, that is 0, and all the statements that we write inside these two curly braces we will end with a semicolon. And we have to also include a certain library file, that is you are including hash include, and inside these angular brackets we are writing stdio.h. Okay, now we have to write a program to add two numbers in C. So the first thing we will write is we have left a certain space here, just it is called as indentations, just to understand that this portion is inside the main part. Now the first thing is to add two numbers. The first is we need two numbers, so we will write any two numbers. First we'll write 3, 4. We have written two numbers, but in C program we cannot directly say 3, 4 because in C program, before adding, it will store these two values in the storage. So we should also specify whether these two numbers are integers or decimal values. Now just by seeing 3, 4, we know that these two numbers are integers and not decimal value. The compiler will not know whether these two numbers are integers or decimal value numbers. So we need to tell the compiler that these two numbers are integers. So for that we will write int. Just like we have written int here, int main, we should also write int here. Now we have written here int. Now we should store these two values. To store these two values, there is a storage space here. Here is one storage space and this is another storage. So these are three storage spaces. So this is one storage space. Now I have to store the value 3 in this storage space. I can store it here, but how will the compiler know that this is stored here? For that I have to give this storage space, the storage portion, a certain name. So I will give this storage portion a name and I will give the name as A. And then again there is a storage space, this one, where I will give the name as this storage space, I will give the name as B. Okay, so this is A storage space and this is B. Now I have to give the number 3 is stored here and the number 4 is stored here. Now here what I will write, int A equal to 3. It means the number 3 I have stored in a space which is named as A, and I will write here B equal to 4. So B is stored, 4 is stored in a place which is named as B. Fine. And these two values A and B are integer. That's why I'm writing int. So again I will say, now for adding two numbers, I need two numbers, but I cannot write it like 3 comma 4. So what I will do, I will write it, I will specify whether it is int or decimal values, and now I have to store these values in a storage space. It will allocate certain space to these values, and next time when I have to retrieve this value, I need to have a name. Just like we all have a name, we also must give a name to this place where this 3 is stored. So I'm writing int a equal to 3 and b equal to 4. Now this is my first statement and I have to end it with a semicolon. Now I have to add these two numbers. To add these two numbers, I will write a plus b. I can also write 3 plus 4. I can also write 3 plus 4. Now again I have to store the addition of these two numbers somewhere. Without storing also I can do all this, but first we will see how we will store it. Again I will write this is an integer and I will give another name to this storage space, which is I will name it as C. So I have defined another storage place where I will name it as C, and I will write 3 plus 4 is C. So this is C, and 3 plus 4 is 7. So I have stored the addition here. Now I have got one number 3, the second number we have got 4, and also I have added these two numbers. I can also write this as A plus b, because a equal to 3, b equal to 4. I can also write it as a plus b, or either I can write it as 3 plus 4 also. Now I got the addition. Now I have to print the addition. You'll give some space. I will write print f, and inside the round braces we will have a double quotes, and we will write the total is. The total is. Now what I have to print? I have to print C. Now I can write here C. Now if I write here C, the problem is the total is C. Whatever I write inside these two double quotes will be printed as it is. So if I write it like the total is C, it will not print as the total is 7, but it will print as the total is C. So I will check these. We will check the run this program and we will see how this is working. We'll copy and I will paste it in a, like I said in the last video also, that I'm using a C online compiler called Programmist, and I am writing my code here. See, here also I've written int main, and inside these two braces I've written my code, and also I'm using stdio.h. See, here I have written int a equal to 3, b equal to 4, and c equal to 3 plus 4, and here I am printing the total is c. The total is stored in C. So this is correct, but when I am running the statement, see, the output that I am getting is the total is C. But I do not want to print C here. I want to print 3 plus 4. I want to print the value of C. If you see here, the value of C is 7. So if I have to print C's value, what I will do is I will remove the C from here, from this double quotes. I will remove and I will write C outside the double quotes. And when I'm writing something outside the double quotes, I have to give a comma. So I'm writing the total is C, but it will only print that which is inside these double quotes. So C is not there inside the double quotes. So how will I am going to print the value of C? So to print the value of C, for an integer value, to print an integer value, I have to write %d. %d could be any value. When I'm writing %d, what the compiler will do is the compiler will check whether there is anything out of this double quotes or not, and it will see it is C is given in outside the double quotes, and will check the value of C, and it will replace the value of C in percent %d. See, I will run and I will check. See, the total is 7. Now here I have written the total is percent %d. Percent %d is an identifier which I am using to print an integer value. We can use percent %d to print any integer value. We saw how to print an integer value in printf. Now for example, I want to print the values of a, b and c. 3 values if I have to print. Here what I'll write, I will write percent %d 3 times. I will use a space also and I will write percent %d 3 times. And here I will, after the double quotes, after comma, I will write a, comma, b, comma, c. Here these percent %d will be replaced as a, b and c. But whatever is inside these double quotes will only be printed. That's why inside the double quotes we are mentioning these integer values as percent %d, percent %d, percent %d, and outside the double quotes using comma we are writing a, b and c. Now we will run and check whether this is working. See, the total is 3, 4 and 7. Now, without even specifying A, B and C, also in printf statement also directly we can print this addition of two numbers. How we will do? We will delete all these things and we will write in printf, we will write the sum of 3 plus 4 equal to, we will write here, we have to print the 3 plus 4 here sum. For that we will write percent %d and here outside the comma we will write 3 plus 4. See, we got the answer. The sum of 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So this was another method without storing numbers. See, here we saw how to store these two values, a equal to 3 and b equal to 4, and then find its addition. But here without the storing of values also we can print it directly using the printf statement. Also we can do the addition. So how we will write? The total is, we won't write here c, but we will write percent %d and outside these double quotes we will give a comma and we will write c. This c's value will be evaluated and will be replaced in place of percent %d. Now imagine we want to use decimal values. Here we have only used 3, 4 and 3 plus 4. Imagine we want to use decimal values. What we will do? See, here I will again write int a equal to 3, b equal to 4, and I will write int c equal to a plus b. No, I will change. I will write a equal to 3.5, will give decimal values, b equal to 4.67, and now I will write the sum equal to percent %d, which is c. Percent %d's value is c. Now I will run this code and I will see whether I am getting the output or not. So if we see the output, we have got the sum equal to 7. So it has only counted this 3 and this 4. It has not counted this decimal values, .5, .67. It has not counted the decimal values. If we have to add two numbers with decimal values, what we will do is, instead of int, we will write float. float, integers for int, and for decimal values we will have float, float. And here instead of percent %d, now you will also get the answer in float, in decimal value. So we will write, see, okay, we will check with percent %d what output we are getting. See, our output is, this is some default value because we have added two float values to decimal point values, and here we are printing an integer. So it's giving me an error, or it is giving me any default value. Instead of percent %d, we will write percent %f and we will run. See, we got 8.17. We have got the correct value and it has given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal values. So for decimal values I will use a float, and for integer I will use int, and for integer I have to use here percent %d, and for float values I have to use here percent %f. Now again we will convert it into integer values. I have two numbers, two integers. Int a equal to, I will write here 35, int b equal to 27. Okay, now int c equal to a plus b, the sum equal to, here I will do %d and I will print this statement, and I am getting the value sum equal to 62. I will write here the sum of, now I have to print here the sum of 35. Okay, I have to print 35 plus 27 is equal to 62. What I will write here is, we will write %d. I want to print the value of a. I don't want to print here a, but the value of a. So I will again write %d plus %d equal to %d, and after the comma, double quotes, and then comma, I will write a comma b comma c. So these two values will be evaluated and it will print here. We will check whether I am getting the correct output. Yes, see, I have got 35 plus 27 equal to 62. Now in the next line, what I'll write is c equal to, now again I don't have to write int c equal to, I can directly write c equal to a minus b, because here I have initialized. Here I have, once I have said c is an integer value, I don't have to write int again, I can write directly c equal to a minus b. Now I will print, now again I will print f. What I'll do is %d, okay, in double quotes I will write %d minus %d is equal to %d, and I will write a comma b comma c. We got everything in one line, so I will write here /n, and now we will check the value. See, I've got 35 plus 27 is 62, 35 minus 27 is 8. See, first the value of c here was 62, now c is 8, because you have given different, we defined c as a minus b. Now again I will write c equal to a into b. Again I will print it, printf, again to print, what I'll write is %d, I want the value of %, then I will star into %d equal to %d, and outside double quotes I will give comma, I will write a comma b comma c, and I will run and check. Again I have forgotten to give /n. Again I will run with /n. See, 35 plus 27 minus 27 equal to 8, 35 into 27 equal to 945. I got the output. Now what I will do is, I will write c equal to a divided by b, then again I will write printf, and I will write %d divided by %d equal to %d, just to print those values we are using %d. If I write a instead of this %d, if I write c, if I directly write a here, a, oh, and I will write b, a divided by b equal to %d, because what will be printed. See, here also I am writing c. We will check what is printed. If I write a divided by b, directly a divided by b is printed, but I do not want a divided by b. I want the value of a, so I am directly writing here %d. Here also I will write %d. Here again I will write %d, and after the double quotes, after these double quotes, I will give comma and write a comma b comma c. So I will get these values of a, b, c in this %d. Now I will again run and check the output. See, I am getting the /n, because I have given a wrong slash. See, 35 divided by 27, I am getting a value 1, because it is an integer and it is not giving me the perfect decimal values. If I have used float, see, if I have used float, float c equal to, I'm again making the c as float, and if now I will write it as percent %f, your float value, let me see how it is coming. I'm getting an error. I will write it as d, float d equal to, here also I will write it as d. I'll give a different name. See, I have got 1.0000. I got this value because a and b is not float. See, again I will write okay, what I will do is I will make everything as float. Here it will be c divided by b. Now I've got the values of integers. See, I've used integers. Here I've written d, that's why I'm getting an error. See, this is the values I got using integers. Now I cannot write here a, b, c without here specifying whether a, b, c is integers or not. And without giving a value to a, b, c, without specifying whether they're integers or not, I cannot write here directly a, b, c. I will get an error. So now I will convert all these integer values into float, that is decimal point numbers. Everything is float, and we'll write here percent %f, percent %f, percent %f. Everywhere I will write percent %f. Everywhere I have written as percent %f. I will again run and see what output I am getting. See, I have got 35.0000. Here I have got a perfect answer for 35 divided by 27. The perfect answer I have got here because I have used a decimal point data type. So this int, float, these are called as data types. Okay, and this value, this a, b, c, d, you can give any name for it. You can give num1, num2, any name you can give. These are called as variables because these values can change. Here again I can write a equal to something else, a equal to 45. What I have written here, that the compiler will take what I have defined previously, the compiler would consider it. The compiler will consider what I have latestly, what I have defined. The compiler will take this value. Can I check? Here I have mentioned a equal to 45. I will write it before here, before this, a equal to 45. Initially I have written a equal to 35, but now I have written a equal to 45, and when I run, I will see equal to 45. I have got 45 on all these lines. So whatever I have defined later, that will be taken by the compiler. So now we will see how it will store these values. First we said that c equal to a plus b. So a plus b, 30 plus 20 is 50. So the value of c was 50. Then we said c equal to a minus b. When it's c equal to a minus b, c's values will change and it will be 10. Then we have said a into b, then c's value will change to 500. Then we said a divided by b, we will get c's value as 1.5. So these values can change. That's why these names a, b, c, or any name you can give, these are called variables. And int, float, these are called as data types, the type of data that we are using. Here we used integer values, and we also saw decimal values, that is called as float. We saw how to take two numbers, how to define or initialize and specify two numbers and give them value, how to store it in a variable, how to define it using integer or decimal value, and how to add it and how to print it using %e and %f. We will revise it one more time if you want. We will delete this and I will write it again. I want two numbers. Let me take two numbers as 50 and 40. Two numbers. Now I cannot write it like this. I have to say whether they are integer values or not, and then I also have to store it somewhere. A equal to 50, B equal to 40. I have stored it in two places called A comma B, and also I have specified that they are integer values. The next statement I will need another variable, and here I will store the total of A plus B. Then I will print it, printf. Inside the double quotes I will write sum equal to. Sum is in C, but I cannot write it here. Sum equal to C. If I write sum equal to C, it will print C as it is. It will print C as it is, but I do not want C. I want the value of C. Like I said, here I want the value of C. I do not want to print C. So what I will do is I will delete this C and I will write %d in place, and I will after the double quotes I will give comma, and here I will write C. This value of C will be replaced here in place of %d, and I will run and check. I will get the output sum equal to 90. If I have to print a value of A, value of B also, I will write 3 times. I will have to write %d. For A, once I will write %d sum of A plus B equal to %d, and here if I write C first, the first %d I will get the value of C. See, if I'm writing C first, A comma B, and I'm clicking on the run button, C sum of 90. Here I am getting the value of C because here I have written first C. If I want the value of A here, I have to first write here A, and here I want the value of B in second %d, so I will write here B, and then I will write here C, and then I will see the output. I will get sum of 50 plus 40 equal to 90. So I have to write it correctly. The first value what I want in %d I have to write here first, and second value that I want I have to write here second, and the third value that I want I have to write here the third. Then I will put /n, and I can print as many statements as I want. Now I have to here directly I can also write the subtraction sum. Now I have to write %d minus %d equal to %d. Inside double quotes I have to use %d. I cannot use ABC or the values. Comma, here I will write A comma B comma C. That is in order that I want it to be printed here, and here instead of C I can also write A minus B, the third part. I have not given a semicolon, so I am getting an error. See, 50 minus 40 equal to 10. I can also directly write here A minus B. Now I can do the same thing. I will copy and I will write it again here. Multiplication, I will change this sign to multiplication here again. A into B, I also have to change it here. I can also store it in C, or I can directly write it. The multiplication I have to write /n after every statement to make it print in a new line. Again I will do the divided by here A divided by B. See, 50 plus 40 minus 40, I have written 2 times, multiplied by 40 and divided by 40. While using divide, if I want the correct value, correct decimal point value, I have to use float. So also saw how to use float for decimal point. For decimal point I will use float. Again I will use here float, and here wherever there is %d I will write f, %f for decimal values. Otherwise I will get an error. Everywhere I will write f, %f. Hopefully I've made all the changes. I will click on the run button C. Plus, minus, you have got the perfect value for division because I've used float, that decimal point values. So today we saw how to define two numbers, integer and decimal value, how to add two numbers and print it. To print it, we are using %d for integer, %f for float. We will see how to accept numbers from the user and based on that do certain operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. We first define two numbers. We don't write it as 30. We don't write two numbers. Inside the intermean we will write 30, 40. We don't write it like this. But we will first say whether it is an integer and then we will store it in values. You can use a or num1, whatever name you can give, as 40 and num2 as 30, and then we were working on it. But we will not define the two numbers, but we will ask these two numbers from the user. The user have to enter these two numbers. So we are going to write only num1 and num2. So we are going to write it as num1 and num2 will be integers. We are not going to give it any value. We have made a diagram of storage spaces. So we have named these two storage spaces, like this is A and this is B, but it has no value till now. It is empty. So we have defined two storage spaces of 4 bytes. Because we have defined it as integer, it will have a space of 4 bytes, A and B. We will also define total, one more variable called total, to store the addition of two numbers. Now what we will do is, first we will print. What we will print is, inside the print, in double quotes we will write enter the first number, and we will close it with semicolon, and we have to write a return 0. Okay, so enter the first number. We will check what is happening. We will click on the run button. So here is the output. The output says enter the first number, but I'm not able to enter any. I'm able to enter anything, but it will not be able to store it. Like if I enter 35 as the first number, it will be able to store this 35 into this num1. So for that, what I will write is, I will write after printf here, I will write one more statement, that is scanf, the same as printf, and also round braces inside the double quotes and with a semicolon. And here I will write inside scanf, I will write %d to specify it is an integer, and after the double quotes I will give comma and I will write num1. When we had written inside the printf, we used to write num1, but inside scanf we have to add the and symbol, which is called ampersand num1, because I have to now take this value %d which the user is going to enter and have to store this value into the num1. Num1 is the address of where this number is going to be stored. So that's why I have to write it as ampersand num1. So now I will see, now next I will print the num1 to check whether my value, the num1 that I have entered, is stored here or not. Num1 equal to again, to print this value of num1 I will write %d, and then outside the double quotes comma I will write num1. Here I don't have to use ampersand, that is and, but in scanf to store this value in num1 I have to use ampersand num1. So now I will run this program and check. I have not put a semicolon, so I have got an error. See, all these statements I have written inside these two curly braces. I have to end every statement with a semicolon. I will click on the run button. See, it is showing me enter the first number. I will write 50 and I will give enter. So it is showing me num1 equal to 50. It means the number that I have entered, it has been stored into num1, and it is also displaying me the value. Now I will take another number from the user, that is enter the second number. Then I will give semicolon. Then again, to take that value that the user is entering, I will write scanf in round braces inside double quotes. I will write %d, and I have to store this %d, this value, in num2. Here I have written num2, so I will write here ampersand, that is and num2, and with a semicolon. Again I will print the value of num2 to check whether it has taken my value or not, equal to %d. Then I will write here num2, and I'll also write /n. I can write /n here at the beginning also, or at the end also I can write /n. I'm writing /n at the beginning. Now I will click on the run button. See, enter the first number. I will enter a 75. I will click on enter. Num1 equal to 75. Enter the second number, num2. Now I will click on enter. See, num1 equal to 75, num2 equal to 30. So this is how I will take the values from the user. What I have to use is, after the printf, I have to use scanf. Scanf, inside that I have to specify that the user should enter an integer, and it should store in this num1, and that's why I'm writing ampersand num1. Whenever I'm using scanf, I should use ampersand num2. In printf, while I'm printing, I can write only num2. So now I have two numbers, num1 and num2. Now I will create more variables to store the sum. I will write sum for difference, and I will create another one for multiplication and division to store. Now I will write sum equal to num1 plus num2, difference equal to num1 minus num2, then multiplication equal to num1 into num2, and the division equal to num1 divided by num2. We'll use these same signs that we normally use, as the arithmetic operation signs, plus, minus, division, multiplication, and then I will print. Further, I'm using printf, round braces, double quotes. I will write sum equal to %d. I will write /n here, and then give a space, and I write difference equal to %d /n. Each and every single thing will be printed in new line. Multiplication equal to %d /n, and then division equal to %d, and then here I will give the values. First, sum of %d is here in sum. So first here I have to mention sum, comma, second I have to mention here difference, diff. I have to use the same words, okay, same letters, same words. Then I will use, here I will use mul, and then here div, the same words I have to use, and then I give a semicolon. I will run and I will check. Enter the first number, enter any number and click on enter. Enter the second number, enter any number, click on. I have not given /n here, so I will again give a /n for sum. I again run the program. First number is 100, second number is 50. See, num1 is 100, num2 is 50, sum is 150, difference is 50, multiplication is 5000, division is 2. Okay, so this is how we take two numbers, accept two numbers from the user, and then we will work on the operations based on the numbers the user has entered. So for that, what we will do, after the printf, we will write scanf. The same in printf we have written %, same we will write, and then the value, the variable we will give, where you have to store this value, and in scanf you have to use this ampersand, that is and 2, so that will store the value in this location called num1. So this was about how to take two numbers, accept two numbers from the user and do multiple operations based on that. Thank you so much for watching this video. In the next video, we will see more such things of C programming. So if you like it, please like, share and subscribe. The video, click on the like button. You can share it with others and also subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this. Thank you.